Hey, yo, Indi!
What's good, man? How you?
Salute, man.
Hey yo, my God is like a lion with 100 sheep. Or how you look at it, the lion's got 100
Since the last time
beasts.
you came through, man, but I'm glad to have you. You know what I'm saying?
Glad to be here, man. Appreciate you for inviting me.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you just being in the spot, man. For real, it's always a dope build, man. What I wanted to do is just like, for the people that don't know you,
Okay.
who are you, man?
Okay. Who am I, man? Who am I, man? I'm a visionary. I'm a dreamer. A revelator. Those are the things that I would say God has instilled in me, has gifted me in. But naturally, I am a father of 3 kids. I'm a husband. I'm a kingdom citizen. I'm a servant. I'm a steward. I'm a comedian at times with my kids. So I'm a lot of things, man. To be honest with you, I'm a lot of things, man. But ultimately, man, I'm a child of God.
Salute, man. You said that you're a kingdom citizen, man. I think you're the first person.
Absolutely, man.
Say that, man. That's dope.
Yeah, I love being a kingdom citizen.
Yo, talk to me about that, man. Just citizenship and what that means to you.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, man, I was a citizen of the world for so long. You know what I'm saying? I was a citizen of I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, man. So I was a citizen of the projects. You know what I'm saying? And all of that. So when I came to God, man, and let me take you back. When I came to God, man, I was 22 years old, and I knew nothing about being a citizen of the kingdom, man. I always thought like, yo, from here on, it's gonna be nothing but, I guess, just going to church. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to live right and eventually going on to heaven. That's all I knew life was. You know what I'm saying? But I took a class when I was at the first church. After I got saved, I took a class, and it was on spiritual gifts.
Right.
And that spiritual gifts class showed me that I had gifts that God gave to me. You know what I'm saying? And I found out in that spiritual gifts class that I had an assignment on earth, that God had a purpose and a calling on my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so you got something for me to do here. It's more than what meets the eye. It's more than just being out here going to church and trying to live a good life. I actually have purpose here on this earth, man. So being a kingdom citizen really is just having a calling, being a child of God, knowing that you got a relationship with God, and knowing that He has need of you here. You know what I mean? That He has use for me. So it's just a beautiful thing, man. I love being a part of the body of Christ.
You salute, man. You got this brand on right now, man. You got this goat wear on right here.
Bro, you see it.
Talk to me about the brand.
God over all things, man. That's you know what? It's more than a brand. I really call it a movement. I know a lot of people like to say that about their brands, man. And I'm gonna share with you a story. Like, so when I started this brand, I have another brand first. The name of it is Fly. Yeah. FLYY. It's about the individual. You know what I'm saying? And it's more about what that brand is about is like letting people know, like, hey, spread your wings and fly, man. Go after your dreams, go after your goals in life, and we want you to look good while doing it, right? But I always wanted something that was more Christ-centered. I always wanted something that was more like just showing the glory of God, just giving Him praise, giving Him honor. So I wanted something for my kingdom citizens, man. So I always had something in mind. I just didn't know what it was. So one day I was listening. I want to say to a sermon online, and what happened was the minister, whoever was speaking, he said, God is in all things. And as I was listening to it, I literally out of my mouth, I said, yeah, and He's over all things. And I thought about that. God over all things. I'm like, God is the GOAT. I remember saying that. So when I got that from him, I cut the sermon off, you know what I'm saying? I started just this. I'm like, yo, I think that's the line. I want to start that as a brand because I saw it more than just a brand, more than just clothes. I'm like, yo, this debate culture that we in right now. A lot of people are debating. You know, in basketball, we talk about who's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Is it MJ? Is it LeBron? Or whatever be the case. But I'm like, who's talking about God, man? What conversation can we ever talk about God with that in terms of being the GOAT? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But He's the one that created everybody. He's the one that created all things, so how could he not be the GOAT?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how that started. That's how I got that first inspiration. And I'm just thinking I'm gonna release a brand. So what I did was I went ahead and I got some people to help me. I got like a marketing person to help me out with my social media and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still at this time thinking I'm releasing this statement clothing. But what happened the other day was after I put out my soft launch to make people aware that I had a brand coming out, I got a phone call. And a brother had called me up, and hopefully he don't mind me saying this. I'm not going to share too much details about it. But he let me know. He said, yo, bro, I just got off the phone with my doctor telling me some news or some things I needed to clean up, some issues going on in my body. And he's like, as soon as I hung up, I went online and I saw your post about this clothing line that you had coming out, this God Over All Things. And he's like, bro, I need one. I'm like, okay, I got you, no problem. I can bring one to you on Sunday. He's like, nah, you don't understand. I need one now. I need one ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, I need to put that on me. I need to remind myself on a daily that God is over all things. He's over my situation. And honestly, bro, that took me from it being just a brand to it being even more than just a movement, more of like, yo, I got to show this right here is going to show the supremacy of God, the preeminence of God, showing that he truly is king. He truly is over all things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now, honestly, after that phone call, it changed my whole focus when it comes to this right here. Man. You know, I've been wearing it in the streets. I've been wearing it around. And people have been coming up to me and saying, yo, where'd you get that shirt from? And I tell them it's not even out yet. This is my new brand right here, God of All Things. And they're like, I need one of those. Right. One lady literally came up to me in a supermarket, and she literally, almost with tears in her eyes, was talking about God is over all things. Man. He is the supreme being. She's witnessing to me inside the supermarket. Inside the walked away with her buggy talking about God over all things. So I'm like, well, this is more than just a movement, bro. This is something different, right? Something different. Yeah.
Yo, this is something different, man. You always do different type of things, man. Like even with Fly right? Like I just want to talk about that real quick, man. Like talk about Fly Right and the idea that was, man, and you know, because I knew about publishing a little bit. I knew about, you know, writing a little bit and how you could actually, you know, make money doing that. But it was like, you actually had the business. Man, talk about that real quick, man.
Yo, Fly Right, and it still is. It's something that I still have going on, man. It's just, I got it on the side right now. I'm still working on trying to build it up. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So Matter of fact, the name itself, you know, I deal with a lot of double entendres.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that part of it that I was impressed with. Like, yo, I don't even know if, you know what I'm saying, people catching what he...
Let me take you back, actually. Let me take you back. So, my business partner that I started Fly Right with, right? He's out there in ATL, and he has some friends that's a part of a group named the Inkwell, right? And what they do is they write songs for industry artists and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And what happened was I heard the name Inkwell, right? This is before Fly Right came about. Right. I heard the name Inkwell, and I'm like, okay, it's like that movie, The Inkwell. But then I thought about it. It also meant we ink well, we write well, we good writers. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy right there. So I knew from that right there that when we had something going on, or if I had a record label or whatever be the case, I needed to have something that kind of had a similar kind of a, you know what I'm saying, had like a similar dual meaning to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I always wanted to do something.
See, I'm back on my YOLO. No, I live for the people, that mean it's back to pro bono. I'm giving all the gods riches in the streets for the Lolo. Still seeing thousands of angels in the back of my photos. Cause I pack God's anointing, just mistake that for mojo. Thought you was running something until he passes the flojo. See, I'm like carbonite, starring lights, a true worthy comparison. shine until I'm gone, but you gon' see me in that arrogant. Lamping with the shepherd, it's all love, no efforts. While others lay to sleep as a sheep, we count blessings. Laugh now if you want, but in him we all get perfected. Our only true weakness is sin, and that's still eclectic. Repented, then he severed it, cut loose on the surrogate. Told me I was his prophet, so to see bars and the letterate. For every album dropping, still a few verses ahead of it. The enemy's a wolf in sheep's clothing, but don't bet on him. Hey.
Behind the scenes, like whether it was gonna be a record label or whatever be the case. So when I decided on the publishing side of that, or also working with actual artists, the actual ones that create the songs, you know what I'm saying, opposed to just the artists themselves that put out the work, like what a regular label is on. The reason why that came to me is because honestly, at heart, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
At the heart of me, I never consider myself an artist, bro. Believe it or not.
That's crazy.
I've never. Well, I consider myself an artist in the way that I create, but I never wanted to be an artist in the way that artists present.
Right, when you touring 30.
Yeah. I don't want to put on the character. I don't want to put on that persona. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been a writer since I was 9 years old. Yeah. That's the gift that God. That's the first gift that God revealed to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if that's who I truly am, if I'm truly a writer, then why should I put out a record label? Why don't I represent other writers? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, and everybody's trying to go after the record label.
So that was the idea behind it. It was being representation for people that have the gift, but don't want to manifest in the way that people think that writers should manifest. That's a fact. So even with writing books or writing songs or just whatever, all of it, writing business plans, you know, those things matter, bro.
William Wilberforce, you know, that's a name a lot of people don't know, but like when slavery was abolished, before it was abolished here in America, it was abolished first in Britain, right? It was abolished over there prior to being abolished here in America. William Wilberforce was one of the main catalysts over that. He had a crew out there named the Clapham Set, all right? And the interesting thing about that crew was that they were not just politicians, they were writers, they were artists, they were some of them were bankers, like Rich. He had it was a conglomerate of all from different walks of life in different fields. And what they did was they all used their talents and they pulled it together for the one goal of abolishing slavery. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so when I thought about that, when they used all these different giftings and they came for this one cause, I'm like, you know what I can do with an actual company that focused on writing? We can affect this thing not just from a musical standpoint. We could affect it from movies, books, stage plays. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we can affect this thing for the kingdom, but we can come from all different angles and different aspects. So when I thought about the Clapham Set with William Wilberforce, I'm like, you know what? I want to duplicate something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I want to use that through writing. RIGHT, like how we know what fly right is. I'm like, hold on. So I'm like, I had to get a little crazy with it, right? A little funky with it. So I added another Y to it. I'm like, okay, that's different. And then when I'm like, well, hold up, we're writers, so why not spell right instead of fly right? Like, let's do the right thing. Yeah. How about fly right with the WRITE? You know what I mean? So it had a dual meaning. So it's fly right, meaning like we do good things. You know what I'm saying? We're not bad individuals. And at the same time, we also fly right. We dope writers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's super clever, man. You're a writer.
That's right.
But you also do so much more than that, man. Talk to me about real estate, man. Like, 'cause I know you was really up on it. Like, you was really, like,
yeah.
you was excited, man. You was going,
Absolutely.
you know, talking about the seminars and all of that. Like,
yeah.
Talk to me about that, man.
You know,
or where you at with it now? Because I know where you was at with it then. You know,
I still do it. Let me start off by saying shout out to my boy Cody. You know, my boy Cody Presley. He put me on the game with real estate. And let me take you back with that, man. And tell you how God is in this thing, man. So what happened was I was working at AT&T, right? Yeah. And I see this car pull up, and it was Cody was pulling up. I didn't know him at the time, right? So this car pulls up, and I'm looking out the window, and I see this nice little car, and I see this guy get out in a bow tie, young dude, and I'm like, I wonder what he do. And then the Spirit of God literally told me, you need to work with him. Literally, before he even walked in the store, I need to work with him. So I knew, okay, the Lord got something that me and this brother need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to make sure that when he came in the store, I was going to be able to talk with him. The problem was I was with somebody else at the time. I was helping another customer, right? So lo and behold, he gets in the queue, and as soon as I finish up, he was the next one up. So he came over to me and we started talking. That was my cue, right? So what happened was he gives me his ID so I could pull up his account, and I found out that he lived on my street. So that opened a segue for me to for us to have something in common. You know, I'm like, yo, bro, how long you been over here? Whatever. We talked for a while, and then we got into start talking about what we do. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he let me know, man, I do real estate. I'm into, at the time he was into cars, all this extra stuff, right?
Right.
And I didn't know how heavy in real estate he was at the time. But I knew that the Spirit of God told me I needed to work with him. There was something more than this conversation that we was having. Yeah. So we exchanged information while I followed him online. I even went home the same night. I told my wife, I said, look, babe, I met somebody and I heard the Lord speak to me saying, I need to work with him. At the time, I'm just thinking he's a regular real estate individual. As time went on, I recognized, okay, he moved kind of heavy in real estate. He was an investor. He flipped houses, and he did a lot more than what I knew he did at the time. So, long story short, he ended up opening a company. I got my real estate license, and so I'm like, babe, we going over to this company. That's where we going. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking my license. I'm going straight to this company because I need to talk with this brother. You know what I'm saying?
So you stopped working at AT&T.
At the time, I was still working at AT&T when I got my real estate license. Matter of fact, what I had to do was I had to take a 2-week vacation just so I can go to school to get my license, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I was still working at AT&T when I got that real estate license. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I joined the company, but so I was doing real estate part-time while I was doing AT&T full-time. But I knew I wanted to switch. I knew I wanted to make that transition. So what I did was I called them up and I said, hey, man, you know, I'm with your company, you know, is there any way that you might be able to help me get into this? I really want to learn how to flip, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to do that side of things. And he was just like, I'll be willing to teach you, you know what I mean? So we developed our relationship from there. We started talking a little bit more. He started telling me about projects he had going on. And eventually when I was able to gain access to some capital so I could do a flip of my own.
Capital?
Yeah.
Talk about capital real quick. What is that?
Capital is money. Capital is money. And so let me put you on to something. Like, you may not have access to capital, meaning like funds right now in your bank account, right? You may not have a 800 credit score where you can go about getting, you know what I'm saying, a big loan from a bank. But guess what? You do have resources around you. You got family members, you got friends, you got neighbors, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these individuals have access to capital. They have funds, bank accounts, or whatever be the case. It could be inheritance, it could be retirement money, or whatever be the case. And so what I found, there's a lot of people that want to do business, but some people feel, hey, I'm too old now, or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know where to start, but they have access to funds. So what you can do, you just gotta, you know, we in the time, you gotta get creative with it. So I was able to get creative, like, you know what? I went up to a few individuals, a few family members, you know what I'm saying, that had access to some funds. I'm like, hold up, you know what? You always talked about wanting to do business, but you don't want to go out there and actually do it. I have the hustle, I have the grind to go out there and do it. I got the creativity, I got the mindset, I got the ideas. How about we combine? You help me get access to capital. I'll bring the business. I'll bring that side of things, you know what I'm saying? Use my creativity to help, and we can help each other in that way. So that's a nugget for my Kingdom citizens out there. Whoever goes out there, listen, you don't have to always go to a bank. There's family members. There's people around you that have access. You just got to come with the vision. You got to come with the hustle. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. So I was able to get enough money together where I can get ahead and purchase a property where I could do a flip. And Cody had walked me through that. And then what happened from there, after we did one, then I found out that he was headed to Chicago, and I was like, yo, I like to do that too. So that's how our relationship built from there.
And how long did it take for you to really develop this skill to start to get taught?
Bro, honestly, man, I just had to jump in there and swim. I had to jump in there and swim. So what happened was he was going to Chicago like within like the next month, and I said, yeah, I want to go too. So I went ahead, purchased a plane ticket, you know what I'm saying, and went out there to Chicago with him, went over a weekend, you know what I mean. Went to Chicago, I saw what he was into, saw what he was looking at doing, and told him I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
So mentorship really is what helped develop you in this area.
Mentorship is what we all need. Matter of fact, we're in a time where you can get mentorship from anywhere. YouTube University, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many people that's offering programs to whatever it is that you want to do. So whatever aspect of real estate, whatever, I don't care if it's not real estate, it could be insurance, it could be whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody that has already done the work and that's willing to provide mentorship, whether that's through a one-on-one or whether that's through a program that they're offering. It's out there for you. You don't have to do the whole thing of learning how to do it for yourself. I mean, we passed that time. You can accelerate now just by getting mentorship. Absolutely.
So you was able to walk off your job.
I was able to walk off my job. Yeah.
Yo.
I was able to walk off my job.
I mean, like, you
was
saying
able to
that
walk
all
off my
casually,
job.
like
I'm
that's
tell
a
you,
big deal, yo.
I say it like this, man. I took a leap of faith. With that. So it wasn't like I just had this big stash.
I was just saying, like
I had to. It was something I had to talk with my wife about. It was something we had to kind of adjust our lifestyle. You know what I'm saying, to make sure it could accommodate it. You know what I mean? Because she still had an income coming in. You know what I mean? I was able to talk to some people. Like I said, I had some invested family members. You know what I'm saying? Some other individuals that wanted to invest. I was able to talk with them. Like, look, if I just need a little cushion. You know what I mean? If I can get a little cushion, I could make it happen. You know what I mean? So was able to get a little cushion so I can have a little launch off, and left the job in faith, bro. You know, I've been working for a while, and I'm like, you know, your job is only going to pay you enough to forget your dreams. That's all it's going to do. Your job will never pay you enough to get rich. Your job is never going to pay you enough to really, you know what I'm saying, to do anything but continue to work for that job so you can continue to provide for your family. And I knew that it was an endless cycle. And I'm like, I'm also in a prime of my life. I recently had another child. I had a son. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I wanted to see him grow up. I was working some crazy hours on my job, so I wasn't really able to get to see him a whole lot.
And be present.
And be present. So I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to make a move. Yeah. I don't want to be an old man finally like, all right, I want to make a move right here, right now. Yeah. I want to take a shot.
Yeah, that's very kingly, man.
Absolutely.
For you to do that, man. Just speaking of your son, man. You became a father again, man.
I'm a father again, bro.
Like, how you
crazy.
doing with that?
Jumped
man?
all the way back out the window, bro.
Jumped all the way back out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because my daughters got older daughters. You know what I'm saying? So like, and you know, once they get into the teenage years, they pretty much know how to do life for themselves. You know what I mean? It's no longer you're not having to really fix food for a teenager. You know what I'm saying? They know how to get their own food. They know how to make their own food. So when I started over with me and my wife, what happened was we had 2 girls, and I'm like, yo, I have no successor. You know what I'm saying? I have nobody coming after me. You know what I mean? The male to carry this name on. Because when my daughters get married, they're gonna take on the name of the spouse. You know what I'm saying? So
the God was all over that then.
The Lord was all over that, man. Matter of fact, man, the Lord that spoke it, He spoke that word to us 8 years prior to having my son. 8 years that I was gonna have a son. You know what I mean? And so that's what stuck with me and my wife that whole time. And me and my wife actually tried to have a child, and we ended up having a miscarriage. You know what I mean? She had a couple miscarriages actually. And what happened was we said we're gonna try one more time, and if it happens again, you know, we rocking with us four no more. We good. You know what I'm saying?
If it was a daughter, it's a daughter.
And if it's a daughter, it's a daughter. If it's a miscarriage, you know what I'm saying? Then it's a miscarriage, and we gonna go on with life. You know what I'm saying? We did try, and lo and behold, she got pregnant again. I'll never forget, man. When she called me to tell me what it was, you know what I mean? Because we knew it was gonna be a boy, but still we didn't know it was gonna be a boy. You understand?
It's one thing to know.
It's one thing to know.
Spirit, but then
exactly, but it's another thing to actually know, right? I was at AT&T. I was in the customer's house, man, and I'm setting them up with some service. And my wife called me, and she's like, you know, I got the call, and I'm like, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? I got to go outside, and went outside, and when my wife told me the news, you know, I just glorify God. Not just that we was having a boy, but like, wow, you kept your promise to me. Kept your promise to me after all that time. You know what I'm saying? This is a boy. It's a legit boy. You said that 8 years ago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a beautiful thing, bro.
Yeah, that's super dope, man.
Say I told you. Stinking. Cause I ain't tell ya. Go ahead and focus and meditate on this greatness. If you don't hear the glory, you probably still stuck in the matrix. He said this is for me. Living revelation on your playlist. Since everybody A-listed, we probably need to pray this. The kingdom is coming. Better yet, the kingdom is here, and we the proof of purchase. And I'm not a part of no circus. We two different churches. Who you manifest in the earth with? Undermining our purposes for the blessings and the cursing. You know this is working.